iFanboy at New York Comic Con 2012 is brought to you by Seagate.
I'm sitting here with Jamal Igle. Jamal, how are you doing?
Hey Connor, what's going on, man?
Now, it's been a good year for you. Tell us about your Kickstarter for Molly Danger.
Yeah, I ran a Kickstarter in August. It was a 30-day Kickstarter. I had the lofty and somewhat psychotic goal of raising $45,000, and we raised 50.
So now, let's back up a little bit. Now, where did Molly Danger come from? Where did the idea come from? What brought you to doing the Kickstarter?
Okay, well, the original idea for Molly actually, me and a friend of mine, Rich Maurizio, actually were driving back from Pittsburgh Comic Con in 2001, and we started talking about different ideas that we could pitch as animation, and one of those was Molly Danger. We really just started out with a premise and a name that sounded cool, and then we started to flesh it out. We decided to abandon the animation idea and to try to do it as a comic book instead. We got as far as getting a few pages actually produced, writing a script. I wrote a script, a 22-page script, got a few pages produced, and I couldn't do it because I was getting busy with mainstream work. Then we hired another artist, Jamal Peppers, who's the artist on Sonic the Hedgehog now. He did a few pages, he couldn't do it, and it just became one of those things where every so often I would talk about getting back to doing it, have to put it to the side because, you know, I would get busy with other stuff. And about 3 or 4 years ago, I got approached by Abrams Comics Arts about possibly pitching a project to them. So I was looking at their catalog and at first trying to think, well, you know, what could I do that would be kid-friendly? And then it was just like, wait a minute, I don't have to come up with anything new. I already have something that I've already created. So I went in and I looked at the old version of the story, and it was much more of a sort of through the looking glass or Amethyst Princess of Gem World kind of thing. And I was just like, you know what, that's way too complicated. Let's pare it down to the fact that she is Molly Danger. She is only Molly Danger. That's all she knows about her life. So I started from that premise and just built the current version of the story from there.
So now, you took it to Kickstarter because it's a tough market for all ages comics, I assume. Yeah. Is that why you did that?
Well, it was partially that. It was partially a control issue as well. I knew that if I was going to do it independently, I would have to be able to work on it and not have to worry about income coming in or having to split my time between working on something for like DC or IDW or somebody like that. And, you know, at the same time, like I'd actually had been approached by other people about doing Kickstarters with them based on their projects, and that was part of the reason why I decided to take Molly, because I was looking at what they wanted to do. I had never even heard of Kickstarter before like January of this year, and I looked at the website, I looked at, you know, what was being done, and I just said, you know what, if I'm going to invest the time that it takes to put together a campaign like this, it might as well be for something that I care about. You know, something that I give a damn about. So starting in January, February, I started studying crowdfunding and Kickstarter and Indiegogo and Rocket Hub and all these different sites. And I started it took me 6 months just to put the campaign together and to put everything into place that I needed to put place before I even pressed the launch button. So once I pressed the launch button, it was just like we're off to the races, and that became just a marathon of interviews and promotion and social media stuff and just everything.
So now you're talking about 11 years in the making when you first had the idea.
Right.
So take us to the day when it actually happened, when you actually got it funded. You had 11-year build-up. What was that moment like?
Well, okay, it was actually the night before the campaign, and there's about 7-8 hours left, and it's about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm looking at the website, and we had gotten over the 50,000, and I put the computer to sleep. I got up, I walked into my bedroom, I crawled up in a little ball next to my wife and started to cry a little bit. It was like, I can't believe we actually did it.
It's a great story, though. You're going to get to tell your story, and so why don't you tell people when is it actually going to come to where people can buy it? When is that going to happen?
Well, it'll actually, if all goes well, will actually be out in July, July 2013. We were originally shooting for October, but we're shooting for July. There's going to be a preview for Free Comic Book Day as well.
And so it's an OGN size book.
It's a graphic album size, so it's 9x12. It's 48 full color pages, hardcover. Yeah, and I'm loving the way that the story's shaping up, and just everybody who's read the first draft so far really likes it. Really, I think it's, for myself as a fledgling writer, because I don't call myself a professional writer because I don't feel like I've done enough as a writer to call myself professional, even though I've been writing probably almost my entire career in various forms, but I think it's probably one of the stronger scripts that I've written.
So now, for people who would be interested in that kind of book on all ages of superhero, give us a quick rundown of who Molly is and what the story is.
Okay. Molly Danger is the adventures of the world's most powerful 10-year-old superhero who's been 10 years old for the last 20 years. She is inhumanly strong, practically invulnerable, and as far as anybody knows, an immortal. But Molly is sort of a princess in an ivory tower because the organization that she works with, which is called DART, Dangerous Action Response Team, keeps her sequestered from the public. She exists in this world where she sees her face on merchandise and on television and on billboards. The entire city that she protects, Coopersville, over the last 20 years has built up this infrastructure around tourism, Molly Danger tourism. But she's kept separate from the world. She doesn't have a secret identity. She doesn't have any friends. She's like any kid who's surrounded by adults all the time. She tries to act older than she actually is. And where the story starts off is we introduce a new member to the DART family by the name of Austin Briggs, who breaks DART's #1 rule, which is to have no personal contact with Molly. And he ends up bringing her home for dinner. So what happens from there is that his stepson, Brian, who hates him but is a major Molly Danger fan, ends up becoming Molly's friend, the first real friend. And that's where we take off in the story.
Well, it sounds exciting. Congratulations. Everyone's really happy for you, and good luck on the project.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Connor, what's up?
I don't think this is an iPad.
It's not an iPad. That's a Seagate GoFlex satellite.
It's not. So it's not. What does it do?
You can put a bunch of media on it, movies, pictures, music, and you can stream them to your digital device. This has a Wi-Fi signal, sends it all out there, so if you have an iPad or an iPhone or lots of other devices, you put the Seagate app on there and you can access all that media without filling up that device. And it's great for traveling, or if you've got kids and you need to give them something to do, or if you're at this convention and you just want to escape for a little while with a flick.
So I can put a movie on here.
You can put a lot of movies on there. That's a big old hard drive.
What about a song?
Yes, yeah.
Can I put a movie and a song?
You can, yes, you definitely can do that.
Where's the screen?
That's going to be the other device.
I see. So I put a movie or a song on here, and I do this, and I hear the movie or the song?
Do you hear something right now?
I hear the ocean.
Yes, then that works for you.
So where can I get this?
You want to go to Seagate.com/iFanboy. iFanboy viewers can get 10% off one of these or the other stuff going on. And these are really cool devices, very useful. And once Connor figures out how to use it, you will also appreciate it.
I don't have a pocket.
Yeah, you have Trinity. You want to use one of your other pockets.
Oh, I have a pocket here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It fits in my pocket.
It does.
It's warm.